Just to listen to that for a second.
Mm.
If you just close your eyes and imagine the sound of modern life, it's absolute cacophony, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, you have the voices, the traffic, the constant ping of notifications.
The static of a billion opinions.
Yes, exactly. All these demands, these desires, all hitting you at once. It feels like a corrupted audio file. A really glitchy, dissonant layering of noise.
We call this the chaos of ego.
The chaos of ego.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that feeling when your internal processor is just overheating because you're trying to run 1,000 incompatible apps at the same time.
And yet, if you listen underneath all that chaos, I mean, if you listen very, very closely, there's something else.
Okay.
A rhythmic, almost metronomic constant.
Like a heartbeat.
Or like the ticking of a celestial clock. It's
Yeah.
precise, it's vast, heavy. It suggests that despite all the noise on the surface, the underlying architecture of reality is actually running on a very specific, very orderly time signature.
Which is a beautiful image, but let's be honest, most of us never hear that clock.
No. We're too busy drowning in the noise.
And that, right there, brings us to the absolute obsession of today's deep dive. We're looking at the human condition, your condition, my condition, not through the lens of psychology and not through biology.
We're looking at it through the lens of software engineering.
We are talking about the human operating system.
It's a fitting analogy, maybe the most fitting one we have today. Because for most people, if they're being truly honest, the software of their soul feels incredibly buggy.
Oh, absolutely. It's full of glitches.
Glitches that we experience as suffering. It has these unexpected crashes.
Which we call what? Existential dread, anxiety.
Exactly. And it seems to be running on a lot of what we might call legacy code.
Legacy code, I like that. Traditions, trauma, beliefs we inherited, but never actually debugged ourselves.
We just keep running the program because it's always been there.
Right. You know that feeling when you're trying to run a really high-end application on an old, slow machine, you just get that spinning wheel of death? That is exactly what guilt feels like. That's what a lack of purpose feels like. It's a system error.
A fatal error message from the soul.
So I want to ask everyone listening to us right now, have you ever felt like you were running on an outdated OS, like you're struggling with errors you just can't seem to patch, no matter how many self-help books you download?
If the answer is yes, then you are ready for this investigation.
So what are we doing today?
Today, we're conducting what we're calling a code review of the entire concept of salvation.
Salvation. Now, that is a loaded word.
It really is.
Usually you hear it in a church or a temple, and it comes with a lot of, well, baggage. But today, we are stripping away the stained glass and the incense, and we're looking at the source code.
We've got a massive stack of material here titled Paths to Salvation in Global Religions and the Quran.
And our mission is to compare these legacy systems, the major global religions, with what our source describes as a superseding legal code.
And just to be really clear, this isn't just a theological chat. This is about decryption. How does one move from that chaos of ego we started with,
That dissonant noise?
to a symphony of alignment? We're going to be looking at the controversial patch notes that are provided in our source material.
Controversial how?
Well, the claim is that this new code is designed to overwrite all previous isms,
All of them.
from capitalism to mysticism, everything.
Wow. Okay, let's unpack this. We're starting with what we're calling the audit of the legacy systems.
Right.
Basically looking at the logs of the major platforms,
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and Buddhism. But before we get into specifics, we really need to define our variable.
Agreed.
When we say salvation, in this context, what are we actually talking about? Because I think for a lot of people, it just means going to the good place when you die.
Right, getting your ticket punched for the afterlife.
Yeah.
But it's much more immediate than that. Across the board, really, regardless of the platform, salvation is defined generally as deliverance.
Deliverance from what?
It's the move from a state of bugso, suffering, sin, ignorance, to a state of optimized performance.
So well-being, bliss, truth.
Exactly. It's about fixing the glitch so the system runs the way it was designed to run in the first place.
But the error logs, the diagnosis of what is actually wrong with the system, they're totally different depending on which tech support you call, right?
Precisely. And this is where the comparative analysis gets really fascinating. Let's look at System 1, Christianity.
Okay.
Our source identifies this as a system that is built around a very specific critical kernel panic known as original sin.
The original bug. I grew up with this one. The idea that something went wrong at the very beginning of the timeline.
In a manner of speaking, yes. The analysis here is that the hardware itself, humanity, is inherently compromised.
Not the software. The hardware.
The hardware. Because of the actions of the first users, Adam and Eve, every subsequent unit ships from the factory with a corrupted hard drive.
And that creates what the source calls an unbridgeable gap, right, between the user, humanity, and the system architect, God.
An unbridgeable gap.
This always struck me as, if I'm being honest, deeply unfair. It's like buying a brand new computer that's bricked right out of the box and then being blamed for it not working.
It's a profound problem to start with.
So if I'm running the Christian OS, I can't fix this bug myself, there's no patch I can write.
No. Your user privileges are revoked. You cannot write the code to fix this. The solution, according to the system, has to be external. It's vicarious atonement.
Okay, what does that mean in our analogy?
It's a prepackaged fix, a cloud backup restore that you didn't write. The source describes this as the sacrifice of Jesus. It's a free gift. It's grace. You don't earn it.
You just accept the download.
You just click install.
So it's like getting a completely new motherboard because the factory just said, look, the old one was defective from the start. Here's a replacement.
That's a great way to put it.
I can see the appeal, though. It definitely takes the pressure off. You don't have to code the solution. You just have to have faith in the patch.
And that's the core of that system.
But let's look at system 2, Judaism. Is that just, an older version of the same software?
Not at all. The architecture is completely different. Judaism operates much more like a network protocol.
A network protocol.
It's less about the individual unit's glitches and more about network health. The source defines the core concept here as the covenant.
So it's a LAN party.
Chuckles. In a sense, yes. It's about the community, the collective. The problem here isn't an inherent sinfulness in the same way. It's more about oppression, exile, and the need for collective redemption.
Okay, so the whole network is down, not just my personal computer.
Exactly. And the solution isn't a one-time patch from the cloud. It's constant maintenance. It's obedience to laws, the Torah, the mitzvot. These are the protocols that keep the network healthy and communicating properly.
And the focus is more on this life, right?
Heavily. The focus is on the current session, this world, here and now, rather than the shutdown sequence or the afterlife. It's about getting the network running properly today.
Got it. So Christianity says the hardware is broken and needs a savior. Judaism says the network is down and needs protocols.
A good summary.
What about the Eastern systems? Hinduism and Buddhism? Because those always feel less like laws and more like, I don't know, hacks.
This is where we get into the infinite loop.
The spinning wheel of death.
On a cosmic scale, yes. Hinduism identifies the bug as avidya.
Avidya.
Ignorance. The core problem is that you don't know who you are. You don't know that you're actually part of the divine.
So you're running the wrong user profile.
Precisely. And because of that ignorance, you're stuck in samsara.
The cycle of death and rebirth.
You're just rerunning the same buggy code over and over and over again, just in different bodies, different hardware shells.
Okay. And Buddhism, is that a similar loop?
A very similar loop, but a different error log.
Yeah.
In Buddhism, the bug is dukkha. More specifically, suffering caused by a craving or attachment. You're attached to the interface, to the graphics, to the user experience. You want things to be permanent when the nature of the system is that they are temporary.
And the fix for that, the debug mode, is nirvana.
Right, which means
Extinguishing, literally blowing out the flame. It's not about fixing the software to run better in the world. It's about exiting the simulation entirely.
See, that's where I always get hung up on these systems. It feels like the solution to the bug is just shutting down the computer.
Or throwing it out the window.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a fix. It feels like giving up on the machine.
And that is the pattern our source material highlights. This is the crux of the audit. These legacy systems, as it describes them, either rely on escaping the hardware entirely, like the Eastern philosophy,
You out of the cycle?
or they assume the hardware is fundamentally bricked from the start and needs an external savior, like Christianity.
Right, the cloud restore. They don't seem to offer a way to optimize the software to run perfectly within the human condition as it exists. They treat the human condition itself as the problem to be solved, rather than the platform to be utilized.
Which brings us then to the superseding code, the Quranic system.
Yes, and the moment we switch to the source material, the whole architecture changes. It's like hearing a sharp, clear ping, a sonic bloom of clarity that just cuts through all the previous static.
And the source describes this system as starting with, of all things, root access.
Tawhid.
Tawhid.
Absolute oneness. This is the kernel of the Quranic operating system. In the legacy systems we just discussed, you often have layers of middleware.
Middleware.
Priests, rabbis, yogis, intercessors, what we could call sysadmins.
The dreaded middle management of the soul.
Exactly. They hold the passwords to the mainframe. They are the gatekeepers.
Right, you have to go through them.
Tawhid eliminates the sysadmins. It establishes a direct, unmediated, peer-to-peer connection between the individual and the creator.
No intermediaries.
None. No one needs to grant you access. The premise is you are already connected to the mainframe.
But hold on, what about the prophets? I mean, Jesus, Ezra, the messenger of the Quran, aren't they a kind of sysadmin? People revere them.
And this is where the source is very, very careful, and we have to be precise. We speak their names with deep reverence. They are the architects of the code, or maybe, more accurately, the ones who delivered the documentation.
Okay, so they brought the user manual.
They brought the user manual, but they are not the source of the code. They are messengers. They are not parts of the deity. They are not to be worshipped. They are the lead developers who showed us, here's how the system is supposed to run.
But they are not the server itself.
They are not the server itself. That's a crucial distinction.
Okay, so we have a direct connection. No middle management. But what about the bugs? What about that original sin glitch we talked about in Christianity? If I have a direct connection, but I'm still running on a corrupted hard drive, doesn't that just mean I'm directly connected to my own failure?
And this is where we get the clean install.
A clean install.
The Quranic system explicitly, fundamentally, rejects the concept of original sin.
Rejects it entirely. Not just reframes it, but throws it out.
Entirely. The source states that every human being is born with a clean slate. You are born in a state of innocence, of purity. There is no pre-installed malware.
So you don't inherit a corrupted hard drive from Adam? The hardware is sound?
The hardware is sound. The factory default setting is perfect.
That is, wow, that's a massive shift in responsibility. Because if I'm not broken from the start...
Then you have no excuse.
Exactly. It's on me.
It's a terrifying liberation, isn't it? Listen to the documentation. This is Surah Saus, verse 164. No bearer of burdens shall bear the burden of another.
No bearer of burdens shall bear the burden of another.
This establishes the protocol of what the source calls personal agency.
Personal agency. So if there's no original bug, and I'm not carrying Adam's baggage, then if my system crashes, it's my fault.
You are the sole coder of your destiny. You have root access, and you have a clean terminal. What you write is what you run.
That is incredibly empowering, but also incredibly daunting. It means I can't blame the manufacturer. I can't blame society for my code. I can't blame my parents.
Correct. And that brings us to the security of this new system, because even with a clean install, you're connected to a network that's full of threats.
Right. Just because the computer's new doesn't mean you can't download a virus 5 minutes later.
Precisely. We need to talk about the moral firewall.
The firewall. I like this analogy. In the source, this is linked to the concept of Psalm and the threat of Batil. Let's break down the threat first. What is Batil?
Batil is falsehood. But in our analogy, think of it as bloatware. Or even more, malicious malware.
The stuff that slows the system down, consumes resources, or just hijacks it.
Or hijacks it completely. And the source points to a very specific type of attack. What it calls a man-in-the-middle attack.
Man in the middle. Okay, that's a cybersecurity term.
It is. The source references Surah 9, verse 31. It critiques those who take their scholars and their monks as lords besides God.
Lords besides God. That sounds intense. We're not talking about bowing down to a stone statue of a guy in a robe, are we? That feels a bit ancient history.
No, and that's the nuance. That's the key. The source argues idolatry isn't just stone statues. It's recognizing any authority as absolute other than the prime coder.
So, explain that in modern terms.
Think about it. When a religious leader, a priest, a mullah, a yogi, even a political ideologue claims they can permit or forbid things on their own authority, and you follow them blindly.
You've installed a virus.
You've given admin privileges to a user who doesn't have them. You've created a backdoor in your own system.
And the source also mentions they devour wealth and falsehood.
Yes. It's a corruption of the system's purpose. It turns a spiritual path into a transaction. You pay the intermediary, and they promise you a shortcut to heaven. They sell you a patch that doesn't actually exist.
So they're selling you spiritual snake oil.
And the Quranic system flags this as a critical security vulnerability, it says. Do not trust the unauthorized third-party vendor. Go directly to the source.
Okay, so that's the threat. It's pervasive. How do we block it? What's the firewall?
The firewall is Psalm. Now, commonly, this is just translated as fasting.
Right, like during Ramadan. Not eating lunch.
Coughs. Yes, denying the body food. But the source urges us to look at the broader systemic function. Psalm is restraint. It is the active blocking of unauthorized inputs.
So it's not just about food. It's a filter for everything.
It's about not consuming batil. It blocks false beliefs. It blocks greed. It blocks the tendency to just blindly follow our forefathers because that's how we've always done it.
So it's a conscious, active filtering process.
Psalm is the discipline that keeps the operating system pure. It's the daily practice of saying no to the noise so that you can hear the signal.
But let's be real. Even with the best firewall, viruses get in. We slip up,
Of course.
click the wrong link, we execute a bad line of code, we hurt people, we lie, we get jealous, we sin. Is it game over? Blue screen of death?
Not at all. The system has a built-in recovery tool. It's called
Tawba, which is
repentance.
repentance, yes. So how does this recovery tool work? Do I need to go to a confessional booth? Do I need a priest to reset my password for me?
Remember, no sysadmins.
Right. Direct connection.
The connection is peer-to-peer. You turn directly to the Creator. The source quotes Surah 39, verse 53, "Do not despair of the mercy of God."
That's a beautiful line.
It is. It essentially says, this is not a system crash. It is a recoverable error. Your mistake is not fatal.
Do not despair. So it's hope.
Exactly. The system anticipates user error. It doesn't break the device because you made a mistake. If you acknowledge the bug and you make a sincere effort to rewrite the line, if you engage in Tawba, the system optimizes. It cleans the registry. It learns.
I love that. It's like the system wants you to succeed. It's not sitting there looking for a reason to ban you.
It is designed for success, but, and this is really the crux of the whole episode, success requires a process. We called this the decryption of the self for a reason.
Right.
Salvation isn't magic. It's not a lottery ticket you find. The source calls it a principled triumph.
Principled triumph. That sounds like work. That sounds like I have to actually do something.
It is work, and it requires tadabbur.
Tadabbur. Okay, that's a new term for me. Define that for us.
Think of it as intellectual decryption, deep reflection. You know, there's a common stereotype that faith is about closing your eyes and turning off your brain.
Yeah, just believe.
The Quran, as presented in the source, represents the absolute opposite approach. It asks repeatedly, constantly, do you not think? Do you not reason? Have you not observed?
So it's actually demanding user engagement on an intellectual level.
It doesn't say just believe this magic spell. It says look at the data. Look at the universe. Look at the precision of the orbits of the planets. Look at the complexity of a single living cell. Look at yourself. Decrypt the signs.
The code of the Creator is written on the walls of reality.
And tadabbur is the act of reading that code and compiling it in your own mind. It's an active, intellectual pursuit of truth.
Okay, so if I'm engaged in tadabbur, if I'm decrypting the code of reality, what is the algorithm I'm trying to find? What's the formula for success, for salvation?
The law of recompense.
The law of recompense.
In short, cause and effect.
Simple physics. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Applied to the soul. The equation provided in the source is this. Faith, iman, plus ethical investment, amal salih, equals salvation.
Wait, ethical investment. That's an interesting phrase. It sounds like finance.
It's the perfect term. You are investing your time, your energy, your wealth, your skills into good deeds, actions that are constructive and beneficial.
And the law of recompense guarantees a return on that investment.
Guarantees it. It's not a gamble. It's not a stock market tip. It's a fundamental law of the system.
So is it a meritocracy then? A spiritual meritocracy?
Absolutely. The source argues this clearly. It quotes the scripture, "Man shall have only that for which he labors." You get exactly what you code.
There's no free ride.
But there's also no injustice. The compiler doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't lose your files. Your work is perfectly preserved and perfectly recompensed.
That's bracingly fair. If I write garbage code, I get a garbage program. If I write elegant, beautiful code, I get a symphony.
Precisely.
But let's talk about the runtime. Because all programs eventually end. What happens when this program, this life, finishes? What's at the end of the line?
The end of the runtime. Judgment. The final compile.
And after that.
Yeah.
The source mentioned something that just blew my mind when I read it. The new universe.
Yeah.
Version 2.0.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets really fascinating and moves beyond the scope of many other systems. This is from Surah 11, verses 107 and 108. The source discusses the concept of a new universe and, even more, further evolution.
Further evolution. Okay, now, usually when people talk about heaven, paradise, whatever you want to call it, it sounds static.
Right.
It's a beautiful room with harps.
Right.
Or it's a garden where you just sit around eating grapes forever.
Yeah.
And it sounds nice for a weekend, but also kind of boring. Like, is that it? We just retired for eternity?
The source suggests something far more dynamic, far more grand. It implies that paradise isn't a parking lot for good souls. It's a continuous upgrade path.
An upgrade path.
The verse says the happy ones will live there as long as the new universe endures, until your Lord opens for them the way to further evolution.
Whoa. Opens for them the way to further evolution. So the decryption of the self, the process of growth, it doesn't end.
It suggests an infinite scalability. The soul that has successfully decrypted itself, the soul that has aligned with the divine code, continues to expand, to learn, to grow, to become.
It's a dynamic, unfolding reality. It's not a static reward.
It's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of the real story, the one we were training for all this time.
That changes everything. It's not about reaching a finish line and just stopping. It's about qualifying for the next level of the simulation.
The new universe.
And this brings us to the final and maybe the most radical claim of the source material, the system override.
The override, yes.
We're talking about the part where the source claims this code isn't just one option among many. It isn't just another flavor of spirituality on the menu.
No, it claims it is designed to replace everything else.
That's from Surah 61, verse 9. The source argues that the Quranic deen, which it translates not as religion but as a system of life, is designed to supersede all man-made structures.
All of them.
The list in the source was pretty specific. I mean, it called out communism, capitalism, secular democracy, theocracy.
Sufism and basically all other isms, the source calls them incompatible software.
That's an incredibly bold claim. I mean, capitalism is the default operating system of the entire world right now. Democracy is the firewall of the West. Why does the source think this system can override those? It sounds, well, to be blunt, it sounds a bit arrogant, doesn't it?
It would sound arrogant if you view it as a political or military conquest, but the rationalist perspective in the source frames it very differently. It argues that those isms are patched systems. They are human attempts to govern reality, and they are full of trial and error. The source has a great phrase for this. The protracted toil.
The protracted toil. That feels very accurate. We fix one societal bug, we create 3 new ones.
Exactly. We try communism, it bugs out and creates tyranny and famine. We try unchecked capitalism, it crashes the environment and creates vast, destabilizing inequality. We are constantly releasing patches for our own buggy, human-written social software.
So the argument is that humanity, through this long, painful process of trial and error, will eventually hit a wall.
And will intellectually realize the superiority of the divine code. The argument isn't based on force, it's based on the idea that truth has a weight to it.
Okay.
Just as better, more efficient code eventually replaces bloated, inefficient code in the tech world, the system of truth will eventually prevail over the systems of falsehood.
So it won't prevail because of an army.
It will prevail because it works better.
It's an intellectual conquest, a move from the fragmentation of all these competing sects and ideologies to the unity of a single universal law.
The ultimate system update. The final compile.
So let's bring all of this back home, back to the listener. We've been on a huge journey here, talking about celestial clocks and source code and new universes. We've gone from the original bug of original sin
To the clean slate of the Quranic system.
from the infinite loop of samsara.
To the direct peer-to-peer line of Tawhid.
We've seen that salvation, in this particular view, is not a lottery. It's not some random thing that happens to you.
It is a principled triumph. It is something you actively build, line by line, deed by deed, thought by thought.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought, a challenge for you listening right now.
If you accept the premise of this source for a moment, that you are the coder, that the slate is clean, and that the compiler is running, then everything you do matters.
Think about that. If your life is a script that is being written in real time, and there is no autosave, there is no undo button on the actions you've already taken.
Those lines are written, they're in the log, they can be forgiven, but they can't be erased.
But the script is still open. The cursor is blinking.
That blinking cursor, it's sitting right there on the screen, waiting for the next input.
And there is a compiling date coming. A moment where the code locks, the program runs, and the results are displayed for everyone to see.
Knowing that, how does that change the very next line of code you are about to write?
Right now, today, in your next interaction, when you get cut off in traffic on the way home, where you have a choice between the easy lie and the difficult truth.
Are you just running on legacy code? Are you just repeating the patterns of your parents, the glitches of your culture, the errors of your own ego? Are you just copy-pasting the mistakes of the past into your future?
Or are you ready to attempt the decryption? To sit down, to look at all the noise, find the signal, and start writing something new. Something that aligns with that celestial clock we talked about at the beginning.
The keyboard is yours.
This has been The Deep Dive. Catch you in the next version.